Yo, what's up, guys? I hope you had a good holiday break. I'm jumping right back into it with more BiS videos, and today we're talking about FrostDK Phase 2 BiS. This is going to be a really good video. We actually have a lot to talk about for some reason with this class over others, so I'm really excited for it. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Let me turn my cam off so that I'm not a distraction here, and go into it. There's a lot to cover here, and I'm not even sure where to begin. So first, let's just go straight into the talents, because we should do this for every video. We're gonna go straight into the talents, and already, for the first time, there is going to be a change in our talents for the rest of the expansion starting in Phase 2. Statistically, Unholy Subspec is going to outperform Blood Subspec starting in Phase 2. Officially, so congratulations anyone who is hating the Blood Subspec rotation. Congrats, you're going to get Epidemic, and you're going to be able to triple oblit more often, and the rotation will feel much smoother. So congratulations, that will be happening. Now the question is, when will that be happening? When do I know that I can go Unholy Subspec? Well, this part is actually kind of weird to answer, because historically or traditionally, I would have said that, you know, you wouldn't need to go Unholy Subspec until Phase 3, when we get really big weapons and lots of armor pin in Phase 3, but this increased eye level has kind of changed everything. And we've really kind of needed to re-evaluate how strong these weapons are and how strong our gear is in this point in Phase 2. And based on sims that I was seeing, on just my own simming on my own time. Of course, this completely depends on your own gearing situation, but in Phase 1 BiS, full Phase 1 BiS, if all we did in full Phase 1 was obtain one Caress of Insanity, so just one of our BiS weapons, again, this comes from 10-man Yogg-Saron on hard mode. If we get one Caress, we should, in theory, have a DPS increase, and this is looking at roughly maybe 30-40 DPS increase. Just getting one Caress means you can go Unholy Subspec. That's it. That's all it takes. My sims were also telling me that you could even do this when you just obtain a Volmir coming from Thorum hard mode, or Thorum normal, or no, Thorum hard mode. No, this drops on Thorum normal in 25 men. If you just got this weapon, which is 238 eye level, again, this would have been like the old version of Caress of Insanity. So you will be able to go Unholy Subspec pretty early on. However, again, you just need to sim what your current gear is, what your current situation is, just to confirm when your character is ready to go Unholy Subspec, so that you aren't sacrificing anything drastic here. Usually, or at least what I'm going to do, is I am personally going to wait until I get at least, you know, 2 new Ulduar weapons, whatever they may be, Caress or anything less than that, and I'm going to wait till I get Mjolnir. Once I get Mjolnir and new weapons, I'm going for it. That's just my recommendation for you. Again, sim it how you feel best and how you feel most comfortable. Just make sure you confirm those things before moving forward. Okay, now that we've talked about talents and all that, let me just point out, as you can see, I'm using these Storm Jewels, and basically all of my gear except my rings for some reason. These we're not 100% sure on yet. They were unique equipped back in patch 3.1 when Ulduar originally came out, but on 3.3.5 they are not unique equipped. So I'm not sure if Blizzard is going to manually change them to be unique equipped, where you can only equip one of these. But in theory, there's a possibility that we could equip as many Storm Jewels as we want. So you could go full epic gems during this phase if you wanted to, although that would be the most expensive thing you could possibly do, as just one of these Storm Jewels is going to be an absolute fortune on the auction house. So going forward, we have pretty straightforward BiS list. Nothing here is going to be too surprising or any different from any BiS list whatsoever. The head, the neck, the shoulders, everything just looks very juicy and very consistent across the board with every BiS list for FrostDK in Phase 2. The thing about tier I want to point out is the tier set bonus of 4 piece is actually pretty decent for FrostDK, but there is no real world where we're actually going for it intentionally. Reason being is because we can obtain our BiS chest from emblems, which is really, really nice to be able to do. We get our BiS shoulders from 10-man. And we shouldn't actually have any competition for these shoulders, assuming, you know, you don't have a warrior in your group. You should be outright getting these once they drop in 10-man. And then your head prior is actually going to be Obsidian Greathelm, which is even better than your tier head. So you actually want to stick with Obsidian Greathelm unless you have an absolute surplus of expertise until you get your Warhelm of the Champion coming from Thorum hard mode. And then, of course, your legs are a ridiculous piece. You wouldn't want to run anything else other than these legs. So there isn't a world where we're actually going 4-piece. So just obtain 2-piece. 2-piece is actually pretty solid. Gives us just some extra damage on our Frost Strike. We aren't going for 2-piece because we want the tier set bonus. It just kind of happened to be these are the 2 best options in our chest and glove slot. And so it just works out to be really solid for us. As for rings, we do want to point out that there are a lot of ring flexibility for Frost DK. As you're going through Phase 2, there are lots of options for you. I want to say right off the bat, one of the best things you could do is actually spin the gold to get the next upgrade of your Kirin ring. This will last you a really long time, especially if you need the expertise. I also want to say that coming from Flameviathan, literally the first boss in the raid, dropped a ring that we could arguably use the entire phase. This ring is phenomenal. Strength of the Automation. Very, very good on Frost DK. Godmane's Signet is a solid ring that nobody really wants from Yogg. Sif's Promise is an amazing ring from Thorum that, again, not many people really want or care about. Seal of the Betrayed King, the 252 eye level ring from Yogg, is going to be pretty contested, I will admit. You'll probably get... you probably won't get prioritized this ring over an Unholy DK. So I wouldn't hold your breath for that one. And then there's even Blade Bearer's Signet, which drops in 10-man? I think this is a trash drop. I would ignore this. This is a trash drop. So there's lots of rings that you can use. About Brand's Signet Ring. Now this is coming from the quest item off of Algalon. The other quest item that comes off of Algalon that we could potentially go for is Drape of the Skyborn, which is the 252 Strength Cloak. Now this cloak is actually very solid for Frost DK, and the reason that we don't go for it is because Drape of the Faceless General coming from 10-man hard mode Vezax is just better. And it's only better for 2 reasons. The extra gem slot and that there's no hit on it. Frost DKs don't really ever have any hit issues, especially in Phase 2. And so we don't really need the quest item from Algalon to get this cloak that has hit on it. Despite this cloak being absolutely really good, it's just a surplus of hit that we don't need. So the value from Drape is actually really solid. Unfortunately, when you are running your 10-mans, despite this cloak being your best in slot for the phase, I don't know if I would ever prioritize a Frost DK this item, as it is an agility item. This isn't going to be something that you will probably get over a rogue or a feral, for example. But assuming you keep running 10-mans on a regular basis, you should be able to obtain this cloak no problem, and it is definitely your best in slot cloak. Now about trinkets. Of course we're sticking with Darkmoon card greatness. And the question is Mjolnir Runestone versus Comet. Personally, in my simming, and in my historic experience with playing Frost DK in Phase 2, and all things considered, the fact that we go Unholy Subspec, Mjolnir Runestone should outperform Comet on basically every single fight. Mjolnir Runestone is a phenomenal trinket for Frost DK, and I personally would use it even all the way through Phase 3. Now, of course, this is going to be per confirming simulations in Phase 3 and per Blizzard actually keeping things the way that they are in Phase 3. We don't know if they're going to do any type of like eye level shenanigans in there either. So I would recommend going with Mjolnir Runestone. Mjolnir Runestone is again, of course, obtained from Thorum hard mode and 10-man. And Comet's Trail is going to be from 25-man Algalon. This trinket Comet is ridiculously hard to obtain on a class like a Frost DK because you have to kill Algalon, which not a lot of guilds are going to be able to kill Algalon very early on. And even then, this trinket is ridiculously contested, guys. Insanely contested. So I wouldn't bother even competing for it. just because you probably wouldn't even gain anything from it, knowing that Runestone is so good. Now then the question becomes, do we use Dark Matter or do we use Grim Toll? Now I think that's gonna have to depend on your gearing. Firstly, I want to say, if you are ever in a situation where you have to pick between a Grim Toll and a Dark Matter, of course sim it. If you need the hit rating from Grim Toll, it's probably going to work out to be better every time. And personally, I like the effect of Grim Toll better than I like the effect of Dark Matter on a Frost Decay. And Dark Matter is best in slot or near best in slot for a lot of classes, and it's not best in slot for Frost Decay. So when you do kill Algalon on 10-man, this is going to be a pretty contested trinket if it drops. So I don't know if there's ever going to be a world where you'd want to have it on a Frost Decay. Go ahead and pass that up and take Mjolnir Runestone instead from Thorum as soon as you can. Again, Runestone being very contested on 10-man as well. Now that's basically it, but I have one important piece of information for you for Frost Decays moving forward into Phase 2. One thing that can change this BiS list a lot is actually the Hodir fight. 2-minute Hodir is a really tight encounter, and it's a big spell damage encounter. You'll see that casters hard carry on Hodir, and physical DPS just kind of suffers. But Frost Decay's Frost Strikes hit really hard on Hodir. And so I am kind of theorizing that, and again, this is Fieldscraft here. I don't have any ability to sim what a Hodir fight would be with all those buffs. At least I haven't done it myself. But I'm anticipating for a best in slot for Hodir, you actually want to pick up Sigil of the Vengeful Heart, which nobody wants, so just grab that when you can. And probably don't run Runestone. Instead, run something like Comets or Dark Matter. Let's just say you had Comets. I would go with something like this trinket, this Sigil, and potentially going back Blood Subspec, although I'm not certain about that. But I do think that the added attack power and crit just kind of plays really well with a Frost Strike build. I think this setup would be really good on Hodir. Really good on Hodir. But that's fully Fieldscraft, and I don't know for certain about any of that, so we will see about that moving forward once we are able to either test it or play with it in game, or see how the parsing goes on Hodir. But those are just my predictions. Now again, so this hit rating that we have right now in this full BiS is at 272, so we are doing just fine, absolutely doing fine. When you're working towards this BiS list, just keep in mind that things like this belt that have a ridiculous amount of hit, you're more than welcome to use the 10-man Algalon belt that has a lot of expertise. Do we need expertise on this setup? No, we're at 24 right now, but that's at least one area where we know we can kind of swap a little bit of hit. Also in this ring slot, we can swap a little bit of hit for something like Strength of the Automation. You kind of get the idea. So definitely want to be flexible with this BiS list, and there is a lot of flexibility thanks to Frost Decay. You actually don't have too much competition on a whole lot of this stuff. It's just really, there's a lot of 10-man gear. That's a lot of 10-man stuff. Your Runestone, you have a really good belt coming from 10-man, your weapons, your back, your shoulders. So you definitely want to make it a priority to get in a good, consistent, and strong 10-man group, because so much of your BiS is coming from 10-man. Well guys, that's basically it. I kind of changed up my format for this BiS list. I wanted to make sure that I touched on the important things rather than going by each individual item all the way through and taking too much time. I hope that you enjoyed this format. I hope that you learned a little bit more about Frost Decay and how we prioritize and what are the important items and how just our talents change going into this next phase. I think it's going to be a really strong phase for Frost Decay. I think we'll be competing with Unholy on basically every single fight. It'll really just be a toss-up between Frost and Unholy on every single fight. You should have a really good time in Ulduar, and I'm looking forward to it, guys. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.